Welcome back. You tune in to Tech at Work. I am Reema Tendulkar and we're in conversation with Srinivas Phatak, the CFO and Executive Director of Hindustan Unilever. We just heard Srini talk about how they are using technology to gain deep consumer insights. Now let's find out how they are using technology to drive efficiencies in their end-to-end operations. Srini, I guess that's where technology would be used most to drive efficiencies, to bring down costs, cut down delivery time, manage your inventory?
So, no, I think the answer would say that I think we'll have to start by saying how do you drive growth first.
Okay.
Yeah? And then there is absolutely the whole element of how you take costs out. So therefore, and let me talk you through a couple of, we talked about marketing. I think let's really talk about our sales system and customer development. Technology has a clear role to play in all three aspects of it, whether we talk about in terms of demand generation, demand fulfillment, or demand creation. I think that's the first piece, and that's how you need to start thinking about technology. And let me try and use a couple of examples to saying how are we doing it today. Today, when you have our salesperson, when he calls into a store, the guy has got a lot to do there. He'll give you maybe what, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. How do you make his life, the salesman's life easy and the storekeeper's life easy? Very simple. When you really look at our own handheld terminal, it's got only 2 screens today. Okay. Easy to sell, easy to earn. Easy to sell is what typically the store would want, and therefore you make it upfront available to them. Easy to earn are the kind of things where you want an effort to go by the salesman, either to talk about a new product or a proposition.
Okay.
How does it work? Therefore, when he sells that, he gets more, right? Back-end algorithms, back-end analytics make it very simple. Then you put in natural language recognition and a chatbot features, and a salesman can actually talk to his device and really know today what's the balance task to be done. That's a very neat way of using technology, even in those 5, 7, 10 minutes that you do.
Okay.
Let's take it forward, or the other extreme is the whole space around Hamara Shop. That is an experiment that we're doing in a few cities, where you actually want to digitize and modernize the traditional trade.
Okay.
Now, this is where a consumer sitting in a house or a home can actually, at the click of the button, using either a smartphone or the app, order the products that he or she would like. And they will actually get delivered from a mom-and-pop store next to your home within a couple of hours.
Okay.
You're now throwing in convenience. You're giving him him or her the flexibility, and that's again a very, very neat way of making product available. Let's take an example in the middle. Yeah, we all understand, and let's talk e-commerce. And I think that's again an interesting channel today. I think this is where you start to benefit from the larger ecosystem of Unilever, where you have the experience and the expertise from more 100 countries, whether it's China at the cutting edge, or let's say Europe. And therefore, I think the whole learnings which go into is that how are you able to do e-commerce by partnering with some of these vendors, by making product offerings which are different, by getting your products visible on their websites much better. There's a whole host of work which is happening. Now, these are some of the examples which I've talked to you, at least 3 examples I've talked to you, all in the customer development space. Let's take it one step ahead and then link it up with supply chain. Yeah, and this is what I continue to say. Where does supply chain begin and end? Because it's really the lifeline of how we run a business. In Hasangad in Delhi, we got a completely automated warehouse with no manual intervention, with robots actually picking and delivering products on Ola Color Cosmetics.
Okay.
And then you really say, let's take it forward and how it really comes down the chain. By definition, small products, few SKUs. So what really happens is you pack them in bulk, bring them to your distributor. A lot of the time will go in actually in terms of breaking the bulk at the distributor.
Yeah.
And therefore you lose time in terms of service. Again, by leveraging technology, with this bot solutions and how you manage a warehouse, if you're able to break bulk at inception,
Okay.
you're able to customize how you would like to deliver. You absolutely cut through the times on how it reaches the consumer, on how it reaches the shopkeeper. In all of this, if you really see, while I've talked to you about growth in all of these, there is an underlying cost theme which runs all through.
Yeah.
My salesman is more productive, therefore can spend more time, costs are low, growth is high. The flexibility which you're giving the distributor to order, much better. If you look at it from a consumer point of view, if I'm able to do this, I start to gain a lot of insights about the consumers. Now I start to get real data of how consumers are interacting with my product. Therefore, the way I spend my advertising money, how do I target to spend? How do I promote? Big time efficiencies. And when you wire up the whole supply chain, right from your warehouse, right down to what you do in the supply chain, into the marketplace, into CD, you can absolutely take costs out. This is just an example of how growth and cost can actually go together. Then there is a whole host of things that you can do in terms of taking costs out, whether it's in supply chain and how do you plan inventories, how do you plan your demand. You can use a lot of algorithmic models today to actually forecast your demand. Once you do that, you can almost work with a philosophy of we'll produce today what we sell for tomorrow. Yeah, let's say we're not there, but that's where the possibilities in terms of how you can take. The moment you do that, you take costs out, you release cash.
Okay, but can you give me actual numbers, how much your inventory levels say have come down?
If I were to look at last 4 or 5 years, we have taken down inventory at our end by more than 6 or 7 days. Every year, it's almost the rhythm that we do is that we get inventories out by a day or two.
Okay.
If you look at many of our distributors, and especially in the top cities, they don't hold any inventory. They pretty much hold inventory which is just about a day, which is effectively the next day the truck connects with them, and they just continue on a continuous replenishment. It's more tough when you go down the rural path and all, but effectively if you've seen some of the bigger cities, we don't want some of our large RSs to hold any inventory. We've always been a negative working capital company.
Yeah.
I think what it is doing for us is it's giving new avenues to continue to improve our working capital cycles. I think today if you were to check our last annual report, we would be somewhere in the close to the range of -8 to -10% in terms of negative working capital. So it is an absolutely cash generating cycle for us. The other element to ask is to connect it in terms of cost savings. Where traditionally we used to be in the range of about 3 to 4, today we moved to 6 to 7% of turnover.
Okay.
Part is really in terms of enabled by our own understanding and appreciation with various programs such as ZBB, NRM. Part is also really enabled by how we're looking at analytics to find those avenues to take costs out.
Okay. You have this project called Project Shogun, where you're trying to bring down the delivery time as well. Can you tell us the tangible impact that has had?
So in our own experiences, if you've seen that if you're able to service a customer within 48 hours, your chances of success are at the best. The moment you start to go to something like 72 hours, your people will not order. So what we've now done is, I think if you really see, more than 90 to 95% of our stores are all GPS tracked.
Okay.
Yeah. Effectively, when our salesman is in the market and opens his handheld device, you then start to know where they are, how long they are working. When you look at it in terms of, therefore, once we have now GPS tracked all our stores, we know all our distribution points. Using tech algorithms, you've now and GPS tagging, you've now decided how best to service them. What's the best route to take? And you and I know, living in cities, and most of our shops are in congested areas.
Yeah.
If you're able to find the best way to reach to them in the shortest possible time, you significantly enhance the time that is taken to deliver. It cuts down fuel, it cuts down cost. You're able to really make it available product in time in 24 hours to 48 hours. And that's a huge impact for us. Why you can continue to see we're getting more productive salesmen. Our costs are coming down, which is helping us actually maintain a very healthy return for our distributors, and we're getting much more out of our distributors.
Okay. You also have this AI software called Jarvis.
Yes.
That, I'm guessing, is based from the Marvel comics, Iron Man's Jarvis. What does Jarvis do?
So Jarvis is really our attempt using Bayesian theory to really start saying, how do you price the product? There are many variables if you were to see in pricing of a product. There is your products, there is competition, consumers have lots of choice. There is an impact of what you do with media, there's an impact of what you do with distribution, there's an impact with what you do with assortment. Traditionally, what would you have done? Traditionally, many of the models would have said that, look, one factor has to be varied and all others remaining constant. Yeah? Typically, you would say, what would I do if I take up my price of my product by 5%? All others are same. Right? All other variables for me and for my competition, whether it's distribution, assortment, nothing changes. In reality, it doesn't work like that. In reality, all the variables can actually continue to change all the time. I think this is when, with the now what data offers and what technology offers, and you're now able to simulate multiple scenarios, and you're able to vary all these elements to then start to say, how do you price your product? And I think this is what it's done for us, is that it's also allowed us to challenge many traditional ways we price. I think the classic example has been laundry. The way we are able to price our products in geographies which are ranging about 400 or 500 kilometers away from each other, we are able to price them differentially. So the same product, depending on the geography, has got a different price, which in some cases is maximizing revenue for us, maximizing volumes for us, and therefore giving us the total value equation. So I think this is where I think it's a beautiful amalgamation of the art and science of pricing. I think this is when you start to get the data to support you.
So do you
with
say,
your consumer
Jarvis,
understanding.
should I increase Dove's price by 5%? If yes, what will be the volume impact?
It'll give me more than that. It'll give me what it does to me. It could also tell me what it could do to the competition. It also starts to give me variables in terms of what it could do to my distribution, what it could do to my assortment. It gives you a full 180-degree of view, rather than traditionally we would have done
Tell me
this.
5 questions that you would ask Jarvis.
The final question I'll ask Jarvis is, what is the value maximization equation? How do I get most growth?
He'll tell you your profit will go up by 1% if you do this?
No, we're not there as yet. Today we are really running it a lot in terms of growth maximization. In pockets we have experimented with profit maximization.
Okay.
And to us, to be honest, it's going to be a journey. So I think one needs to be careful on how you think about this. It's given us a significant capability. But this is not a model that you do at a particular point in time and you don't refresh. You need to continue to refresh these models every 6 months because a lot keeps changing. Today we have really said, and where we are deploying it is on some of our core brands, strong brands with profitability. Therefore, the first focus is on growth. Yeah. Second is obviously, as we fine-tune the model, we will go down to saying what does also do profit maximization.
Okay, on that note, we need to slip into a very short break, but we'll come back and find out more about what the future world of technology will look like for HUL. Stay tuned.